Hey, Midtown Podcast today. I'm excited to be here with my father.
Yes, sir.
Planning to do this on Father's Day week and just to sit here and have a conversation today, man.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what we're going to be getting into, but this is going to be
Yeah,
fun.
let's just go for it.
Let's do it.
You can see the resemblance, right?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Well, I'm glad to be here with you, man.
I am too, brother.
Yeah, it's been an honor to be your son.
It's an honor to have you as a son and be my pastor. That's interesting.
That's got to be a little bit weird.
That's
maybe.
a little weird.
I don't know. But I was hoping to have a conversation today and just hear your story a little bit. I was telling Austin, who usually is here with us, how it's, I don't know if I've ever sat down and just been like, hey, Dad, tell me some of the story. Like, how we found ourselves here, you know? In your story background, I mean, by
Yeah,
that,
no,
you know,
I know
of
what
course,
you.
yeah.
I can tell you, we got it. Oh, you got. No, but yeah, no, man. I grew up in the Nashville area when I was young. I was in Goulitsville and went to church every day. The doors were open because, my grandfather, my grandfather was a pastor. My dad was the song director. And so we always were at church whenever the doors were open. So it's pretty much been my whole life. That's the way it's been. Then we moved out to Franklin and went to First Baptist Church Franklin and just got into sports. I really loved sports. I loved playing. And I think that's why you guys always kept pushing you guys because I love baseball and football and ran track. And so I just had a fun time growing up and then met your mom at church there because her dad became our pastor.
Yeah.
And so it just over time was a neat little trip that we've had together.
Yeah, you were a pretty stout guy back in the day. I remember going to school and when the kids would always have these arguments about my dad can beat up your dad, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, those pictures like you and mom and you're like flexing your muscle or something. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like my dad, if he came down here, he could definitely beat your dad up. That was the big argument.
Oh man,
on the playground in first grade.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I understand that one.
So what was life like in the home that you grew up in? So your dad is a music guy, but he's also
Well, he was a banker,
right.
and so that's what he was. His career in banking was from a bookkeeper all the way up to executive vice president, and he just worked a lot. And my mom was a stay-home mom, and when I say a stay-home, it was after he got to a certain point in the bank, of course, but she most of the time in my older, I guess middle school and high school, she was my at-home mom. But I guess if you really want to get down to it, I think that some of the things I've learned from my parents, if that's where we're wanting to go with this a little bit, I think, I think that parenting and with you and our children, I just kind of said, hey, I've got to follow the example of my father to a point. Because my father was very disciplinarian. He wanted excellence. He wanted the very best out of you. And if you didn't give it, but he let you know it. And the way he let me know it were some things that kind of hurt. And I realized when I was growing up, that's not the way I wanted to do my children. And so that's one of the things I really got and I'm not, hopefully I'm not going to the wrong side of this because my parents were good, very good, very, very, it's just, there were some things that, I definitely wanted to temper with my kids.
Yeah.
I didn't want to walk in the same light as that. I wanted to be able to say, even if you didn't make A's on everything. If you didn't win every game, if you didn't do your very, I mean, as long as you did your very best, I was fine. I never wanted to hurt you guys from a standpoint of being a dad who broke your spirit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of,
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. I think you can't really, it's hard to say all these things until you have kids and you realize that you're like, well, my parents did the best they could,
oh,
you
yeah.
know, and
Oh,
you were
yeah.
great parents too. And I think we would all say, well, I took a bunch from you and mom, and I look at it, I'm like, well, I mean, maybe there's a couple things I do a little different, but like, I don't know, I'm learning with you, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things too, is you didn't come with a book.
Right. I wish they would have gave us something.
The only book that we have, is our
Right.
Bible. But I mean, hey, but the thing is, I'm sitting here going, I'm sitting, you do the very best, because at certain points you're saying, I just want to survive.
Yeah.
I want to get through this. And so that's the way we would feel. And, but at the same time, I love it. I love you guys growing up and being your dad. I mean, but seeing what you're becoming and what our kids totally have become, have just been amazing to watch.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Oh, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, I'll never forget them loading my daughter into the car and just putting her in that seat, my first one, and then driving away in silence for a moment and being like, my life has changed. I will never go back to anything different than this right here, at least at a minimum.
No, that's it.
And you're like, I'm about to go figure it out because I've never done this.
But I do have to tell you this, though. My mom gave us back then, I mean, holy God, I didn't like those dresses they gave you to put on kids when they came out of the hospital.
Oh, yeah?
And she gave me a dress to put on you. I went, I don't want my son to wear a dress.
They got to know, grandmama's no longer here with us, but she had a certain way of which she did things. And I think I looked like an antique doll.
Yes.
That's what her ideal for me was.
Jay would, my mom would give us clothes to give for Jay.
Oh,
and
I remember that.
They had suspenders. They were, what do you call those white and black shoes?
I don't know.
Not Dockside, but
I don't remember.
Oxford or something like that.
The black and white
Yeah,
shoes.
the black and white.
It looked like you go bowling in. Yeah. I remember getting dressed up to go to their house, and I was like, man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I look like an idiot.
And now everybody knows that's what our house was. So funny. And I didn't keep that.
What would you say is the most like formative? I don't know if you could go to like an experience or like something that you feel like you really formed you. Do you have like a moment or like a way that they did things that you would be like, man, this is super forming in my life?
Man. Jay, I would have to say going to the high school I went to, I mean, that really formed me to the point of knowing that, you had the three sides of the triangle, the spiritual, the academic, and the athletic. And that was big. I mean, and I went to Brentwood Academy. And so, I mean, that was a big school back then, but it had a big impact on my life because it taught me to keep persevering no matter what, in everything. And that experience with the athletics, I know you guys would remember this when you run your sprints, and you'd always say, one more, you can make it, you can make it, just keep pushing yourself. And that's kind of what I've done through my whole life, is said, we can do this. Just keep going. Yeah. It'll be better, or it's going to work, or, and that's starting business. So,
and I did see that in your life, like modeled, like I really did. And I think that was a forming thing for me, is to watch you and mom like continue on when times were tough or good. It didn't matter. Like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And let's fight through this. Yeah. So you, after post, like you connect with mom in Nashville. Y'all kind of go separate ways for a time. She moves to Florida.
No.
Right?
No. She, when we met, her dad, after 1 year being in Franklin, left and went to Morristown.
Oh, okay.
And so she went to Carson Newman, and I was at Tennessee Tech. And so I said, hey, we've got to change this up. So I went to UT, and we just, because I was playing football, and I decided, well, I'm not going to go pro. Let's just go ahead and get back.
Now, did
Get
you
this.
fail out of Tennessee Tech?
What?
I was just wondering, like,
I won't say I
you
failed
had a
out.
lady that you were pretty preoccupied with,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I would say I had a. I won't say I failed out. I didn't do very well.
Sorry. I know.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't. I did. I helped her more than I helped myself.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, no, we would on Thursday nights before football games. I would go home and have a date with her, so we could. That weekend, I'd be at a ball game,
Yeah.
and so I'd go Thursday nights, and we'd go out and go to Godfather's Pizza, and then go to a movie, and then I'd head back and be on the bus the next morning, going wherever we were going, or being ready for the day to go
Yeah.
at the stadium. So anyway, but
And then
yeah,
y'all got married.
um, then we got married in '85, and so we're about to celebrate our 40th.
40th year, man. Way to go.
Yeah.
And then after that, you went to University of Tennessee, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you went into banking.
Yes.
You were going to follow your
I was
father's
going.
footsteps.
I was
huh?
going to follow those footsteps, and I I can't stand politics. I can't stand politicking. I can't stand stabbing people in the back to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, I've got to start a business. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And that's when Jerry called me, and we started the business, and holy cow, I couldn't believe it took
Yeah.
off the way it did. But
So I watched you start a information management company,
yes,
and I remember as a young kid, basically like spending the night. I don't know, spending the night. It felt like
Yeah.
we were there till all hours of the night, eating hot dogs and pizza or whatever we would do. We'd play in your office while y'all
Yes.
did work and got the business going.
yes. Yeah, we had that playroom set up for you guys where it had a basketball goal in there and a desk where y'all could do your
Yeah.
pictures or writing or whatever. And
Yeah. And so you did that business for what, 30 years?
27.
27 years,
Yeah,
ended up
27.
selling that business. What's some of the things like when you go through that journey of starting a business, going through all that you went through, dealing with people, going through hard times, good times? Because you didn't really make a salary for how many years? Like
Roughly 7.
7 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you kept going for 7 years. And I think when I talk to a lot of people, like I think they get in that thing where it gets really hard, and then you're met with the decision: do I keep going in this? How did you keep going, and what did that look? How did you
Well,
make that decision?
like I said, when you look at it, I had a good wife that supported me. Jennifer was awesome. And so,
And she was a nurse.
yeah, and she was a nurse, and that helped because she had a salary that we could rely on. And when it came down to it, she was always there to help.
Yeah.
I mean, she always helped me.
Yeah.
And so I never had that moment where I had to decide one way or the other. She was always there supporting.
Yeah.
And if she hadn't been, that would have been a different story.
Now I remember a story. You said you came to this kind of head where your dad came to you and kind of said, "Hey, man, like,
Yeah.
bring us into that moment and kind of how you decided to keep going."
Well, it's just you see it. You know that this business has a future. I mean, that's the way I felt. And so we were in it 7 years, and I wasn't making much. And my dad, who was in banking for 42 years, was getting on to me. And here I am, not a grown man, but older. And so he sits me down to breakfast table one morning there in Nashville and says, "Man, you got to get a job. You got to do something to support your family." And I just looked at him, and I mean, this was the moment where I can actually sit there and remember something that changed the whole perspective. And I looked at my dad straight in the eye, and I said, why didn't you quit banking 7 years in? Because I said, you weren't making what you were making on your 40th year. Why didn't you quit? And he looked at me, and that's when he shook his head and went, okay, I understand.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when I understood too, because I knew it. I knew the business. I had that feeling that it was going to go, because it was such a good business, and we had a great model. We had a great business model saying we're going to service our clients. We're not going to do anything else but serve them. It kind of takes us to what our life's mission's about, is to serve people.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of what, how we served our clients, and
Yeah.
that's what we took, that attitude is, we're going to serve you and do whatever it takes to help you.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Really is like a winning mentality. No,
Yeah.
You'll never really go wrong.
No.
And even if your business didn't make it, you end up doing the right thing. You find yourself in the right places.
Serving and loving people. I mean, it's a neatest thing because you meet some of these people, and they're so hard or so but when you love on them and show them that you care and you want to do something for them, that breaks.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool. That's really cool.
And that's one of the biggest lessons I learned from you guys, and what I constantly probably fight personally, if I'm honest, but just the temptation to try to build your kingdom versus, and just really show up and like be a blessing for somebody.
Yeah.
If you really want to build a business, I think the key is not trying to build your business, but to actually serve somebody through the business that you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that's your mentality, your business is going to be successful.
It's going to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what people are looking for, someone to help them. And that's what you're there for, is to help anybody that's doing any kind of business out there that's being a provider for somebody. You're wanting to help them and do what you can to help them do the best job that they can do.
Right.
And when you do that, man,
showing up with that heart, that builds a good business.
Yeah.
If your effort is to try to build your business, forsaking the client,
yes,
your business isn't.
It's
eventually,
it'll eventually show up.
Yeah, eventually. And I saw that, and I appreciated learning that from you guys and seeing you endure through that and just constantly doing the right thing, man. Like, even we made mistakes, we own up to it.
Hey, and that's one of the things too, is if you did something, made a mistake or something, own up to it. Don't walk away from it, because you've got to just hit it head on, go through that. It's good.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
I remember we made a mistake, and I'll never forget like that. We spoke to this client. We were like, hey man, we made this mistake, and they ended up giving more business because they're like, well, we trust you.
We trust you.
Yeah.
Yes. And absolutely. Because they weren't our client. They were just doing one thing with us. And when we made that mistake, they kind of went, hey, and we owned up to it. We owned it, said, hey, whatever it takes, we'll make you whole. And they came with more business, like you said.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
What would be, as you've gotten older and then you get out of business, what's some of the things you process now post business? What is it like?
It's weird. It is very weird to try to find what you want to or need to do now in life, because you've worked all your life trying to build a business, and then you're not going out and hitting the pavement every day or working with all the people that you worked with, and you're kind of going, okay, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to be? And it's coming, but it's one of those things where I'm gonna have to go through this little journey.
Yeah.
I guess you'd be in the desert for a few days, but at the same time, I want to enjoy this time with Jennifer. I want to be able to take a little bit of, because we sacrificed a lot for you guys. When I say sacrificed, I don't mean for you, but we sacrificed a lot with you guys by running a business, because we could go on vacation, but at the same time we were having to be back and make sure the business is running.
Right.
And so it's just now Jen and I are going to take a little time and enjoy it. And But at the same time, I think that we are going to get more ministry involved because I think we're so involved in that business that we kind of let some of that fade. And so I think that, and I mean, let's go to some church here with you and this church. I'm amazed because I grew up in church all my life, but to see how the Holy Spirit's running this church, and not the mechanics of a church, and that's the one thing I sit here and go, I experienced that in my younger years, but I haven't experienced it since.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool too, because when you look at when we grew up, and this goes back to the childhood, I mean, we had some pretty big names come through our church that sang, and you sit there and go, wow, I knew those guys. I knew them when they were, and so it's pretty cool. I mean, only one I think they would ever recognize the name is Oak Ridge Boys. And we knew the original cast, so all the members, and there's a story behind all of them, and Dwayne and Alan, I believe their names, are the only ones that are left.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That were the originals.
Yeah.
So, but it's really neat to go back to that time when it was so spirit-led church, and then I'm not knocking churches. I think that they need to stop the structure and let the Lord work. I really do. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that our church is doing right now. I think we are allowing him to move versus us saying, well, we've got to sing 3 songs and then have them, a sermon and then everybody leave. I don't think we experience that.
Yeah. It really is hard when you start putting these hard parameters on how the Lord's going to work, and we just start defining it like this is what it's going to look like, and he really moves on our time,
Yeah.
I got X amount of time for that.
Right.
And we'll see you next week. I just think he might work outside of boxes sometime.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, man, what would be the encouragement for let's as we end today, what would be encouragement for new dads, like somebody who's stepping into parenting? Like, what would you be like? And here's what I'd say.
I guess one thing I would say is, love on your wife, continue to love her through all of that, because when you're a new dad, it's hard on them. You don't realize it. And I'm telling you right now, we don't. Men do not. Men do not understand what women are going through when they have children. And so as that's coming on, man, just love on them.
Yeah.
And it can be hard because you're sitting there going, okay, what's she experiencing right now? What's she going through? Because you don't understand the hormonal changes. And then when your child is crying every night or something, is going on, you're just going, wow, I've got to keep pressing through this.
Yeah.
Like I've said, perseverance is,
showing up, man.
It's not easy. No, I'm going to tell you right now, if anyone thinks it's easy, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's a satisfying and great thing, though.
Yeah,
it is. It is so, especially after you see now, because you look at you guys with your children, and you think back of those days when y'all were that young, and you look at that and you're going, oh man, I remember when, and you're going, I wish I could be back in that time a little bit to be able to do some things with you that we didn't do. But at the same time, I like to see what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
But it's just neat. It's just keep loving each other through it.
Yeah. I think that's such a good word. And I'm personally going through this time where I'm kind of seeing things come to fruition that it took hard work and perseverance to get to a point where you start seeing some results that you never saw before. And I've been reflecting that I wouldn't be sitting in seats and seeing results had I not pressed in through the hard times.
Yeah.
And like sitting here with you and talking, like I think you had to press in through a lot of hard times for us to have a conversation here. And if you hadn't done that, like I have a lot of gratitude in my heart for you pressing through hard times, because we're able to sit here and have a conversation. And it's just, I don't really thankful
Yeah.
that you kept going. And for anybody that maybe hasn't and stopped along the way, I think just personal like encouragement, like go back and do your best to make things right the best you can.
That's exactly right.
And then own up, like we said, like go back to that conversation and just like own your piece.
Yeah.
And we can't help people own theirs. It's not our job to do, and we can't. And I think most of my pain in life is trying to get somebody to own their piece versus me own mine.
Yeah.
And I think if we just own ours, and that's all you can own your piece.
Own your piece.
And then move on in peace, I guess.
Yeah. And I
believe the Lord restores.
That's really all you can do is own it. Like, just own it, go through it, and and everything will work out.
Right.
It's going to work. Like there's one story that I can remember with you guys, and it was a hard decision, but it was easy because you wanted to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at a Christian school, and so I knew that we wanted to go to a Christian school, so I knew that. And so when I went and talked to Coach Young, and he told me that he would work with you and see you through it and everything, and I just sat here and went, okay, because one school didn't want to have a football program, and that's why we left.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to play and wanted you to be able to succeed in sports and enjoy sports. And when we went to CAK, if we hadn't gone to CAK, there's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened, especially like this past Sunday. That thing started running through my head about that after church Sunday.
One of the guys got baptized, long story short, but one of the guys that was connected to us years ago ended up getting baptized, and this Sunday was a cool experience.
And if he hadn't gone to CAK, that whole situation wouldn't have come to fruition. It is weird to
consider how those decisions really mark and change like massive.
It's amazing. Really, and so you just sit there and go, your decisions that you're making are going to affect the rest of your life and someone else's possibly. Yeah. And you're sitting there going, oh my gosh.
Right.
That's heavy when you really sit here and think about
something
that.
To consider.
Yeah.
And I just say, like, because there's people that when we say these statements like that, there's people who live in like, all right, I'm pressing into the right thing. And there's some that are like, whoa, I've already screwed this up to the point of no return. And I just always encourage everybody, like, if you begin right now, just doing what is right now, you'll find yourself in the place that you really need to be down the road.
Yes.
But you just start right now. And if it's been screwed up in the past, like, start right now.
Yeah.
And watch what the Lord does.
Yeah.
And you'll find yourself on couches.
Ask for grace, man.
Yeah, like that's it. Like,
just go for grace.
Not perfect people.
Yeah. Nope.
We've seen it.
And we have seen it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, so, man, I really appreciate the conversation today.
Well, I love you, man. Except for bringing up my failing out of Hissy Tech.
I'm sorry. Sure you can air. We'll have you back on. You can air out some stuff.
Hey, let me. Can I share something real quick?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Well, no.
Hold on. Wait. Let's just cut it.
No. Your mom and I got married before I graduated, and so went back to school and finished honor roll and dean's list. First time in my life.
Really?
Yes.
It was always in there. Just needed some inspiration,
It was getting married to the right person.
Yeah, right.
No, but that's where I had to laugh because, all that time growing up, my dad was getting so mad at me, man. And I would say, it's okay,
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell anybody not to go to school, but hey.
But
enjoy, go the direction that you need to go. And if you are a construction worker or a garbage man or whatever, go do it to the best of your ability. And that's what I always told our employees too. I didn't expect you to have a college education. If you didn't want one, don't.
Right.
But if you do, go.
Yeah.
And so
just work hard, man, and you find yourself in the right places.
That's right.
Just care for other people.
There you go.
Really is it.
Amen.
Thanks, man, for all the lessons learned. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man. I really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. All right.
Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week. 30 minutes.